Hello and welcome to the TNT's Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on Bodyslam.net and the John's Podcasting Network. I'm your host, the Great British Attacker, Mr. Andrew Moore, Andy Most, joined as always by the now back to a mohawk, Big Daddy Dan.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm back to being me. I was responsible and respectable for a couple of weeks, and now I'm responsible and less respectable. But yeah, it's good to be me again. I like it.
Excellent. And we've had a new setup for how we're going to be producing these shows, typically starting every month with a preview of what's coming up, what you want to go see, finishing the months with a review of everything that's happened, and a couple of bullshit episodes in between, which you should definitely go check out. The draft episode we had, the Pop the Boys podcast, the two Craigs, and of course, Jameis from the We Talk Indies podcast. And it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed ourselves. Everybody got a little bit too competitive at times. It was
We got a little bit stressed.
it was. And I'd like to point out, of course, on the voting, we won.
Yeah.
Although we'd love to have seen more votes. So come on, be more interactive with us. Let us know what's going down. Let us know what you thought of this new format. We're going to try and bring you two interviews over the course of February. We don't know who they're going to be yet. We've got no idea. Got some ideas, got some names, but we'll let you know as soon as we do.
Even got some numbers.
Got some numbers, we certainly do. But let's talk about you weren't just at PEW this month. You were actually part of PEW, and not like being part like we have been part of PEW before, where we have done post-show commentary. You were there live from the show, and you did some ring announcing, didn't you?
I was the official ring announcer for Phenomenal Elite Wrestling. I did lots of announcing. Most of it was just for Lance Rivera because he's got so many bloody names. But no, it went really well. And I'll tell you what, this was the best show for wrestling that PEW have put on so far. The quality of match was so up compared to some of the other shows they've put on. Absolutely brilliant. George Lydon and Ryden had a great match. Kean Kelly is such a good heel. He's such a good heel.
Indeed.
And if you watch it, which I know you have, Andy, the tag team match between the Rebellion, the Entitled, and Lance Rivera and Joey Scott, that match stands up in any company in the UK.
Absolutely, 100%. The Rebellion did a fantastic job returning after being stay-at-home champions for quite some time, taking on Bradford Better and the Ryan Taylor team. Is it Ryan Taylor?
It is Ryan Taylor, the Geordie Shore
alumni. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. You cannot fault that tag team match. Was a little something special, and very impressed with Hot Shot Joey Scott. That was the first time I had ever seen Hot Shot Joey Scott. So doing very wonderful things. Tagging with Mr. Lance Rivera, the Playboy Prince, your girlfriend's favorite wrestler. And
number one.
Absolute number one, and many other names that basically says that he is the greatest, and he is a fantastic young competitor. You should just go out your way to watch Lance Rivera. Very bright future. You know, you want to put him in the mold of a Dolph or a HBK type of image that he's producing for himself. Don't get me wrong, he is his own man. He is not HBK. He is not any other of those variations of HBK through the years. He is his own man. He'd even throw in a bit of ravishing Rick Rude when talking about Lance Rivera, if I'm a bit honest.
Yep. I can definitely see where you're coming from with that.
especially with the tights.
Yes, great times, great times. Yeah, they were very determined that I announced them correctly, and then Brady Phillips from Riding Over wouldn't let me announce them at all. They backed me into a corner. In fact, I had to have a little bit of a hug with Lance Rivera to make me feel better.
I did notice that. I was thought, well, that's unlike Lance, but obviously
Yeah,
you
I'll be
ran
honest
off
with you.
you ran off all his nicknames, so I'm not surprised. And I'll be honest with you. I spoke to Lance Rivera. I met him at TNT Ignition at TNT Extreme Show, and we spoke about you. And he was very impressed with your performance as a ring announcer, as was I. Let me go. Just let's critique Big Daddy Dan's performance as a ring announcer. He provided gravitas with his great tones that you do have. You made every match feel important. I could tell that you had hyped the crowd up pre-taping, and this is a big thing. Sometimes hype the crowd off camera before you go on camera. Uh, Something that some promotions could probably learn from. And to be honest, I love the fact that you wore a suit. I'm sorry, and this is nothing again. You present however you want to present, but I do believe in tiny little touches. And if you want to be taken seriously as a professional company, wear a suit.
Yeah,
It's,
and I will also be making sure that I have PEW cards to have my ring notes on, and I won't be looking at them as much as I did this time.
when Mr. Whoever is announcing boxer, who's big these days. Well, let's just check with Mayweather versus whoever. They're not out there in their jeans and t-shirt doing it, are they?
No, they are not.
Professionalism. And I'm not saying that, as I say, people present however you want. It's just something, me as a fan, I like professional. And I think things that look professional look better. And that includes, custom ring drapes, customs, matting, and other, just look like a top drawer company, feel like a top drawer company, get made to, yeah. Anyway,
Well,
but I thought you were fantastic. Honestly, if I were to run a promotion, I would hire you, not just because you would be doing it for free, but
yeah,
because yeah, I would honestly want you doing it. There are, Simon Hill, Mad Dog Mike Angus, you know, I would put you on among them. I really would. I don't care if it was your first year. Those years of doing counseling, leading speeches, probably when you're at university doing presentations. It still came together at years of DJing. So thumbs up from me.
thank you so much, and the tenors in the post. Um, they are having me back. I will be announcing again for PEW at Brave New World, and that'll be on the 18th of February. And there are some really good matches that have been announced that I cannot wait to do. Ivy versus Harley Hudson. And
Yep.
this one is going to be for the Women's Championship. And I shouldn't really go on about the others because we do a whole show about what's coming up next. So I will just say that it is going to be very, very good. And I cannot wait to announce Martin Kirby versus Jack Selstrom.
Yes, it's going to be something very, very special to top performers. And yeah, I look forward to eventually watching it. Dave Bradshaw was amazing on commentary. He's just the bloody best. Chocolate Thunder did an excellent job providing heel commentary.
For his first time doing it, he was brilliant.
He was absolutely fantastic. My God. Yeah, I was very, very impressed with Chocolate Thunder, and Dave Bradshaw's just phenomenal. Big shout out to Smashing Mike, Dave King Kelly. I like the way Smashing Mike takes a beat and keeps on coming, man. Man never gets tired. Never gets
No, he
tired.
does not.
Great
And
match against King Kelly.
I just love Ivy. She's so wonderfully hateable. Ivy is just the best. And I am looking forward to at some point this year watching Ivy take on Artemis.
Yeah, I thought Harley Hudson was phenomenal in that match. Chase Alexander, another man that really, really impressed me. In fact, he impressed me a lot because not only did I see him there, I saw him at TNT Ignition as part of the Ignition Rumble, and honestly, he was probably my Rumble MVP. And
Now, I know that the Invisible Man is not your favourite gimmick, but in that match with Chase, how good was he?
he's good. He's a big lad. He's athletic. He could be a good thing if he just stops pretending that he's Harry Potter. Told you.
Miserable bastard.
I know. I've got to keep it up because unfortunately I'm a heel commentator for PEW. I can't say anything good about him. It's in my rule book.
Fine.
Yeah, it's there to be ticked. Who else? And of course, main event: Martin Kirby, Jason Joshua. That was very, very good. Really, Jason Joshua got a massive rub in that match. Martin Kirby made him look like an extremely credible challenger. Drew the rest of the entitled down to ringside. I would say go out your way, go check out PW. It's been seen by almost 1,000 people, and keep it up. I think I'm looking forward to seeing ZZ. She was part of that. What was it?
The vegan
road
the
show.
vegan Prescott's vegan roadshow.
Yeah. Segments to segments, but I like ZZ. I've heard a lot of good things about ZZ. I've not got to see ZZ perform yet, but the people I know, they tell me ZZ's an excellent performer. So I look forward to finding out much more about ZZ. But yeah, any of your final thoughts on the show?
Much, much, much better wrestling. It was great. Really good fun show. Watch it on YouTube. Enjoy a good free wrestling show. And I hope you will come and see me in Stratford upon Avon on February the 18th.
Book Big Daddy Dan as your ring announcer. Because damn right he deserves it. He's a great ring announcer. Now, I went to TNT Ignition and TNT Extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was in Liverpool. Great shows. I missed the first half of the TNT Ignition show, unfortunately, just due to the time my bus arrived in, and by the time I went and dropped my bags off at the hotel, and missed most of the early matches. But I did get there in time to see RP Davies, against Big Sam Gradwell for the TNT Ignition Championship. Blackpool boys, both of them. So that's something. And it was, Sam Gradwell really absolutely took it to him, beat the crap out of him. RPD just kept coming, caught him flush with a Superman punch. Big win for RP Davies. Solidifies him as a hugely credible champion, a massive victory over Sam Gradwell and TNT Ignition. But it does seem that Gradwell is not quite done with TNT Ignition yet. The second half of the show was developed to the Rumble. Because it is a Rumble season. It always is. January rolls around. Gotta have a Rumble. It was a fun Rumble. It was a good Rumble. Lots of new performers that I hadn't seen yet. The Green Herculean Megan. Big powerlifting performer. They look set to be a dominating force. You had Two-Bit and Sonna Dursin working together for a good period. They were just eliminating people left, right, and center. An excellent picture of Lance Rivera, hands on his hips, like, I got it. And just before that, I got an excellent clip of him actually just chilling out on the turnbuckles. But it all came down to who were the last four? Big Guns Joe, Chase Alexander, Shreddy, and Charles Crowley.
What a
Out,
group.
out came Isaac North and Robert Drake. I can't remember the name of their team they're going by. It's like Malin or so. It's something gothic and scary.
I genuinely thought you were about to say Isaac Yankem.
Isaac Yankem, no, Isaac North. Gothic hipster Viking. Don't mess with him, no, he's huge. They took out Big Guns Joe, so they eliminated Big Guns Joe. So then it was down to three: Chase Alexander, Charles Crowley, and Shreddy. Charles Crowley did the heel thing, got out the ring, hid for a little while. Chase Alexander managed to eliminate Shreddy. In comes Charles Crowley. He eliminates Chase Alexander, and boom, there he is, the TNT Ignition Rumble winner, Mr. Charles Crowley. It was a lot of fun. The first show, the Ignition show, was not as well attended as the latter TNT Extreme show was, but it still had a very good attendance, and you had the families there because it is a family-friendly show. But I think more the Extreme guys should definitely go check out the Ignition show. There's a lot of young up and coming talent and some top performers. Sam Gradwell, it's there. Charles Crowley was there. There was some big names there. So absolutely excellent. I cannot fault them. But on to TNT Extreme, the actual Merseyside Massacre show. This was absolutely excellent show. And it was kicked off in fantastic fashion by Daz Black, Scotty Rourke, Manly Reese, and Nico Angelo. And these four men were just flipping and flying and diving and crashing and burning and splashing and they were just doing everything. And it was excellent. Daz Black, who of course was making his TNT Extreme debut, he got the most time to shine in this match, which I think was excellent fair dues to, Scotty Rourke, Man Reese, and Nico Angelo probably allowing his time. Nico Angelo came away with the win. He retained the Ultra X Championship, but Daz Black, he established himself, and goddamn, he was got the welcome. Please come back, Sean, and handshakes all around.
How happy did he look in all the photos? I mean, I know his pearly whites are just something to be.
What a capture again!
Yeah, I was chatting with my wife, and I showed her this picture. She was like, "He looks so happy." Yes, he does.
I'll see if I can flick that picture up. It might be difficult because I'm going to be trying to edit in this one tonight so we can get it out first thing in the morning. Anyway, back onto it. She-Wolves, which is actually Casey and Angel Hayes. Angel Hayes, of course, a new member of the She-Wolves. So it was Casey and Angel Hayes, and they were taking on Lizzie Evo and a mystery partner. She brought out Emerson Jane. Said that she was one of the toughest opponents she had ever faced when she was the TNT Extreme champion. And to be honest, Lizzie Evo versus Emerson Jane on the TNT Extreme. I can't remember the show. It was an excellent match. Bang on. No, great choice. And I tell you what, they had one hell of a job because they had to follow Nico Angelo, Daz Black, Scotty Rourke, but you know what? They took the baton. They just took it. They ran with it, and they shined. Whatever you want to say, the women represented. It was a great match. She-Wolves came away with a dastardly win, but Lizzie and Emerson came away looking good. Clint Margera, Big F and Joe in, of course, the TNT Extreme death match, spectacular. I don't know if it was just some sort of light tube, but there were a lot of light tubes. I'm not sure if it was just a light tube death match or what, but there was some barbed wire too, and I had to look away on more than one occasion. But overall, you know what? It was a good match. Not gonna, fair play. fair play watching these people do it live. Oh, I don't know why you'd want to, but fair play to them for wanting to. Fair play for them to entertaining us. Fair play for putting on a good match. Then it was La Rebellion. That is Bestia, Sace, and Mecha Wolf, former NWA Tag Team Champions, probably Crash Champions or Lucha Champions or AAA Champions at some point as well. But phenomenal, big lads. And they were taking on Lycos Jim, Kid Lycos 2, Kid Lycos 1. And what can I say about this? But this was absolutely excellent. Really, just bang on. This was probably the best Lycos Jim tag match I've seen, bar their match against CDK, Massa, and Chris Brooks. But definitely, probably, yeah, they absolutely nailed it.
What was the size difference like?
Kid Lycos was really Kid Lycos 2, sorry, was really obviously disadvantaged. He was tiny compared, but you know what? He used his speed, his agility. He used his miniature size to evade. And he took a pasting a lot of the time, but every now and then, he would. And the way him and his partner, Kid Lycos, who was at the largest he's ever been, he's been putting on the pounds recently, and you can see it. And absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I went and saw him after the match. Had to tell him it was an excellent match. Bought myself a little key ring and hat. Showed you that one on last week's show.
You did.
Yeah, for me, probably the best Kid Lycos I've ever seen. Shaman defeated Adam Bolt. Excellent performance from Adam Bolt. Again, another lad making his debut. This is Shaman and Visage looking for LGBTQ talents in the UK, as they're trying to help and promote them the same way Effie would be in the UK. And obviously, they're still annoyed that the UK fans cheer for Effie and not them, but they are the United Queendom. They came out dominant. Adam Bolt looked fantastic. Shaman looked dominant, coming out with his whipping hat. Brilliant match. And yeah, fantastic. Gotta give him props. This was you had MVK Valganius, and of course he was taking on Tom Farewell, who had the Mancunian. No, they are the Manc Union. He is the Mancunian Stallion, but they are the Manc Union. That is Sam Bailey, Danny Proper, and JJ Webb. And so MVK had the Bad Boy Chiller Crew, this big lad from the Bad Boy Chiller Crew, in his corner. Great match. MVK, I don't understand why nobody made this man a star. He has everything from a phenomenal look, great physique, athletic, can sell, can beat you up. He's somebody for me. A future TNT Extreme Champion for me. He's a phenomenal young man. I'm not sure how young he is, but big, strong lad. Anyway, good match. Then it was Leon Slater versus Dan Maloney, which was really, really, really good. Really good. Really, really good. And I'm going to stress that it was really, really good before I make this point. At one point, for some reason, Dan Maloney just came out of the ring and started to try and open the corner barriers. But unfortunately, he couldn't. There was a struggle to do this. And eventually, security came over, and eventually they did it another way. There was also Leon Slater could hit his big dive over the turnbuckle onto Dan Maloney. Only problem is, it was so obvious coming. I think it's phenomenal when he does it. He doesn't have to do it every match, and he has to make it look logical. Criticism. So seeing first Dan Maloney go out there and start fiddling it, I'm like, why are you doing that, Dan? We know you're just doing it so he can do that. So straight away that did make sense. And the fact that you had to have security come over and everyone's trying to push it all out of the way, kind of spoils the spot, takes it away from the moment just a little bit. You know, great match overall. Brilliant finish. Dan Maloney hitting the driller, then going for a lazy cover and ends up getting caught by Leon Slater. I'm like, oh, driller, he hits the driller. I'm like, Maloney's winning. And then he hits the lazy cover. And I'm like, Leon Slater's winning. And he rolls him up. So he's celebrating. And out comes Charles Crowley. Because
And
remember,
if you haven't
he had won the
watched,
ignition. Yeah, he had won the ignition rumble, and he decided to cash in this championship opportunity in TNT, and he cashed it in on Leon Slater. Alexis Falcon came out that you thought she was cheering on Leon Slater, but nope, she pushed him off the turnbuckle. Charles Crowley and Alexis Falcon are the dastardly heels of TNT Extreme now. Any
and
questions?
I'm so excited about that. What a great pairing! What a great team!
Yeah, absolutely. And they absolutely soaked in all of the ruin. They really, really did. I'm a cynical fan, so as soon as I'm sorry, I'm like, yeah, Falcon's gonna turn on Leon, and yeah, jaded wrestling fan, but it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The fans hated it or loved it, depends on however you want, because you love to hate it. That's what wrestling is, and it was brilliant.
And of course, that would be because they are the best TV show, best wrestling company in the UK at the moment.
Certainly in the top five. Certainly in the top five. But no, this was an absolute fantastic show, and fair dues to them. But they need to. I'm not sure what's going on with their streaming at the moment.
I think they will progress, I'm sure.
There's something need to send them a message. I need to find out what's going on with their streaming at the moment because, of course, they were on Pro Wrestling TV, but it does not seem like. But they haven't added to Pro Wrestling TV in quite some time. There've been at least 3 shows now, uh, none of which have recently been uploaded. So, look forward to finding out where it can. And I tell you what, when it does get uploaded, go out of your way to watch it because Daz Black and that Fatal 4-Way was phenomenal. Lycos Jim was brilliant. Leon and Dan was great. The women absolutely smashed it. TNT Extreme, ladies and gentlemen.
They're awesome.
Uh, Rev Pro live in London 70 was streamed live on their streaming service that they do, and is also available now on demand. It was a great show. Really, really great show. Connor Mills versus David Francisco first, which is basically just Connor Mills beating the crap out of poor David Francisco, with David Francisco getting a few hope spots. Overall, Connor Mills is going to have a great year. Greedy Souls versus Lycos Jim. Lycos Jim playing good guys, but still using their heel tactics. So you get a bit of Los Guerreros Lycos, if you like.
Los Galicos.
Los Galicos, yes, and the fans, yeah, they get on. They got into it. Even Andy Quilder got into it on commentary, and it was a solid match. Gabriel Kidd versus JJ Gale was absolutely excellent. This is probably the best JJ Gale I've seen. He was phenomenal in this match. He really took it to Gabriel Kidd, but of course, then Gabriel Kidd just slapped the crap out of him. But he gave it to him while he could. Robbie X and Luke Jacobs continued their fashion of just having great matches anytime they're in the ring together. This was for the Cruiserweight Championship, which Robbie X retained over Luke Jacobs. Zach Knight defeated Gideon Gray. Gideon Gray's first match back since his Japan tour wrestling out in New Japan, but he's back and he pulled out some great old dirty tactics, but he couldn't win. Eventually, I think it was Lucien Phillips came out and attacked Zach Knight after the match, and it was Gabe Kidd who made the save. Although Zach Knight didn't like the fact that Gabe Kidd made the save, he told Gabe to stay out his business.
Yeah, my business.
Yeah, exactly, just like that. Stay out of my business. I'm doing this by myself now. because he's obviously falling out with RKJ as well. So an interesting story brewing over here on Rev Pro UK. Sunshine Machine then defeated Charlie Sterling and Sean Jackson. It was supposed to be Nick Riley, the Smoking Aces, but unfortunately he was ill on the day. In came the modern day heavyweight double action, Sean Jackson. I'm not kidding. That's how you do it. I like Sean Jackson. I liked him and Kenneth Halfpenny back in the day as a tag team, and Halfpenny was still probably struggling with injury. I'm not sure what his, but still, good solid tag team wrestling. Sunshine Machine with a win. Eddie Dennis versus Will Ospreay. This wasn't Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega or Will Ospreay versus Kazuchika Okada. But it was brilliant. It had everything: heart, passion, struggle, the amazing athletics of Will Ospreay, the that never say die in Eddie Dennis as he just kept getting up. And then afterwards, Will Ospreay cuts this incredible promo on Eddie Dennis, and he runs Eddie Dennis down a little bit. Runs NXT, the fact that him and all his friends tried to monopolize wrestling with NXT UK, and he had to go at him for that. But then he said, "You know what? Out of everyone that had the 90 day, while everybody sat at home with their 90 days, you were wrestling the next day. You were at Rev Pro UK Wrestling. Fair play for that." And then he had to go at him a bit more and reminded him that he is a former world champion and he needs to start acting like it. And then out came Connor Mills to pick up Eddie Dennis. Because this has been brewing with Connor Mills, Michael Oku, and Eddie Dennis. There was a match between Mills and Dennis a couple of shows back. Oku tried to attack Mills. So this has been, again, building as a story. So I think we're going to see Connor Mills, Eddie Dennis. It's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. Excellent show. Go out of your way to watch it. It's on Rev Pro on demand on their new service. As I say, they running their shows live, or you can catch them on demand. And highly recommend that. Any questions, young man?
Yeah, Michael Oku. What's he been up to recently? Has he done anything that's sort of noteworth?
No, as I say, he's embroiled. Last time we saw him, he was backing up Mad Kurt. So apparently he was going to make a tag team with Mad Kurt. So expect to see Mad Kurt and Michael Oku versus Eddie Dennis and Connor Mills on a Rev Pro UK show soon. Oh, also, fair play to Rev Pro UK for playing Party Hard and licensing the music for Party Hard, because other promotions need to just pay the licenses and play Party Hard.
Yep.
Okay.
Because it's
just saying
so
it.
Good.
It's so good. It's such a great, and it fits him and things. So, and if you're not doing it, you're ruining the fans. Although, we'll talk. Actually, I'll talk about it now. Progress Deal or No Deal is available on Progress on Demand. Of course, they are no longer going to be on the WWE Network. Any thoughts on them not being part of the WWE Network?
Yeah, it is going to lose them a lot of international viewership. I think the UK fans will spend the money on Progress on Demand. The diehard fans will. But you were getting passing fans from all over the world watching because it was on the network.
Yeah.
And you're not going to find your American fan, your German fan, maybe your German fan, your Japanese fan, your Indian fan signing up to Progress on Demand, but you will get them signing up to WWE on Demand and seeing it.
Yeah. No, we talked about it, I believe, on the last one we were fantasy book. We were talking about streaming services. Of course, most people, wrestling fans in the world right now, of course, yeah, WWE Network, NJPW were. These are the first choices, and it hits even us British fans. Although I don't have the WWE network for that exact reason, they stopped running NXT UK, and I just don't see the point in having the WWE network anymore. I am not interested in the WWE product. I like my progress. I like my Rev Pro UK. I like my TNT Extreme. I like my North Wrestling NCL Purpose. I like my WXW. I love my Passion Pro. And I just don't have time for WWE or AEW.
But it is the Royal Rumble on Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't have it anymore.
I might get it just for the Rumble.
The Rumble. I love the Rumble.
Well, people are buying the bloody AEW pay-per-views. We'll have to buy them.
Rumble. It used to be back in the day. Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania. No matter what, I was in watching them. But as I say, I've got too much other stuff to watch, including, as I say, this recent Progress show. So this was the Boxing Day show. It's a surprise show, so lots of fun and theatric. Kicked off with CPF. Unboxing, yeah, sorry, yeah. So it's CPF, Callum Newman, Danny Back, Just Orlando, Maverick Mayhew versus Luke Jacobs, Dan Maloney. Man, like Del Boy, not the Reese, because he came out like Del Boy from Thing, because he's all about his merch at the moment. And he came out to the music and stuff, and Progress was a little bit funny. Had captions coming up at the bottom saying, right now there was some licensed music playing that and they made a bit of a joke out of it. Then Mad Cad came out, and I'm guessing he's using that do 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 do. And for some reason, Progress won't play that.
That sucks.
Yeah, that sucks a lot. But they put on it, you should have been there. Which, you know what? Fair play. We should have. Anyway, great match. CPF, boys. It was a lot of fun. Comedy, theatrics, and high flying. Charles Crowley versus MAGA. Charles Crowley is now achieved God mode, and you must bow down to the twat.
I will. I think he's amazing. I think he is. I just don't understand how WWE haven't signed him up for anything yet.
And he took on MAGA. As I say, this was good match, but also a confusing match.
Why that?
Because MAGA, it looked like at one point he was going to turn heel.
Ah.
But then Charles Crowley cheated to win. And I was like, I'm a little confused here. Who was the heel? Who was the so it was a good match, but it left me as the viewer a little confused. Because I wasn't quite sure by the end of the match who I was actually supposed to be rooting for or rooting against.
But who were you in the end? Who did you want to win?
I don't know, because the match didn't put me in a position of really wanting either of them to win.
Fair enough.
It was a good match. Lizzie Evo then took on Alexis Falcon and Nina Samuel. Lizzie Evo was fantastic in this match. She's just, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world right now.
Best wrestlers in the world right now.
Yep. Alexis Falcon and Nina Samuels absolutely played their part in this. It was a solid match, a fun match, and Lizzie came away with a win. So I'm happy Lizzie got a big win. Tate Mayfair's then took on Simon Miller. They brawled around the sort of like area for about 10 minutes, and then had another 10 minutes match. But good, fair play to Simon. He really, really put everything out there in that match, and you could see he did. You could feel He put everything out there in that match. And no, he didn't come away with the win due to some dastardly tactics from the one Tate Mayfairs. But, he put on a show and he performed. And as I say, for me, it was a heart on the sleeve performance from Simon Miller. And fair play to him for that. And then the Nigerian kaiju Warren Banks returned to spear the crap out of Tate Mayfairs, and that was good. Great to see Warren Banks back. Super strong. Warren Banks, the super strong style 16. Make it happen.
Can't wait for him to land on me again.
Make it happen. Lana then defeated Millie McKenzie, Riho, and Sky Smithson. And she pinned Sky Smithson to win the match. So, are they pushing Dissension? I hope not. It's too early for Dissension. I don't think this has had enough legs yet. I think we need to let this grow more. So, hopefully, we're not seeing Sky turn soon. But, the fans, I'm sure they're ready to get behind Sky Smithson when it happens. Spike Jaffe defeated Big Damo. He came out first talking about he tied up all the loose ends as champion, and Big Damo came out and said, "You haven't tied up this one yet." And looking at Bullet, you really got to see the size of Bullet in this match because he matched up to Big Damo, which is a hell of a feat. But Spike came away to win. Good match.
I've seen Bullet live and met him at EWA. And he is a very big boy.
He's an absolutely massive boy. And then it was Sunshine Machine versus FSU. This was everything you could want Sunshine Machine and FSU to be. A little confused because, again, it looked like FSU were going to turn heel, but then they didn't because Sunshine Machine just used the exact same tactics, which was pulling the referee out the ring. And I was like, they hit this move, and I'm like, yeah, this is exactly where you should have finished this match. And then TK pulled the referee out, and I'm like, no, that's exactly what you should have done. That was perfect. It was brilliant. This was, edgy seat stuff from Eddie Dennis, Mark Andrews, TK Cooper, and Chuck Mambo, the Sunshine Machine.
Who won?
Sunshine Machine won. So it was a huge win. I believe that tied up the record for defenses of the Progress Tag Team Championships. So any questions, my young man?
Well, that was my big one. I love FSU. I love Sunshine Machine. I love the fact that they had this match together. I think it's great. Do you think this is going to lead to a series of matches, or do you think this is just a one and done?
It's hard to tell. I think it's probably you'll see it again. I don't want it too soon. I also don't want it too often. I don't want matches to lose that mystique, that hype. So I think it'll probably be somebody else dethroning Sunshine Machine before FSU.
Which means it has to be a heel tag team, which means it's going to have to be Lycos, really, isn't it?
I don't know how the match went this last weekend. That was Lycos Jim. Greedy Souls, could bring the Greedy Souls back in. Smoking Aces would be another one you could use.
Smoking Aces could, yeah.
Kings of the North, another team that you could maybe bring in. Bring in European, bring in Amboss, bring in the Arrows of Hungary. In fact, you know what? I'd love to see Amboss in Progress. I'd like to see Robert Dreisker and the Arrows of Hungary over here doing the Amboss thing for Progress. Overall, this was a really good show. I also got to watch Bodyslam WXW yesterday. It was a crossover show. It's available on WXW's WXW Now 2.0, which is available on YouTube. It is $8.99. Of course, you get WXW, you get Bodies Oi Wrestling, you get Bodyslam Wrestling, you get APC Catch, you get Wrestling Cult. You get several, and I think there's some promotions out there that should maybe do something similar with the UK because they're promoting some of the biggest promotions across Europe on their thing, and their performers perform in those promotions, and I think it's a great idea. Anyway, Bobby Guns defeated Emeritus. Great match. Ian Skinner wants a match with Emeritus. Robert Dreisker defeated Bam Bam Quaid. I didn't quite realize how big Bam Bam Quaid was till he saw him against Robert Dreisker, and he didn't look that much smaller than Robert Dreisker. And Robert Dreisker is a big, big man. Baby Allison defeated Betty Rose and Alice Inc. So that probably means she's going to get a WXW women's title shot again at some point. Peter Olisander defeated Maggot thanks to a little help from Ahura. Then there was a 6-man scramble. No, it was an 8-man scramble match. Pete Phoenix defeating Eli Castle, Toby Zane, Jackpot, and Eric Sable, Gabriel Faust, Hyundai Thomas, and Robert Starr. But it technically was actually more of a 4 versus 4 because Pete Phoenix has actually hired Gabriel Faust, Hyundai Thomas, and Robert Starr to come out and beat up Jackpot, Eric Sable, and Fig. But then they turned it into an 8-man scramble. But it kind of still was like team 8-man scramble, but in the end Pete Phoenix won.
Right.
Then it was Carlos Zamora versus Ahura, and that was absolutely fantastic. That was for the Bodyslam Championship. Carlos Zamora defeating Ahura. It was a lot of fun. It's a good show. Right, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega. Any thoughts?
I liked it a lot, but I believe it was yourself that said they were both holding back a little.
Yeah, I mean, you'll hear them saying things that they gave it everything they had, but I just felt like there was still another level that both of these guys could have taken it to. Like, I feel like I've seen both of them take to another level with different opponents. And for as great as this match was, I don't think it was the 6.25 David Meltzer or whatever he gave it. I know it's 6 point something. I personally would have put it in the 4.7, 4.8, very high, very close to 5. It was one of the greatest matches you'll ever see. I don't think it's the greatest wrestling match of all time. And I do believe Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay will have 2 better matches to come.
I agree 100%. However, that was a really good match. It told its story. It told its story well. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You're right. 6.25 stars it's definitely 5.
Yeah.
Definitely 5. I look forward to it. The next one, I think the next one will probably take place in the UK. I think it will take place at Craven Cottage. And I think the third one will either take place in AEW or it'll be at Wrestle Kingdom 18.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have to have it's got to be done in the UK, hasn't it? You gotta have Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega in the UK. They gotta
that
give
will
it to
sell
us.
tickets.
Absolutely, it will. Bang on. But yeah, great match. 5 stars, no doubt. But could they have done better? Probably. Will they do better? Most likely. And they absolutely blasted each other in that match as well. You felt every blow.
Do you know what really excites me?
What really excites you?
They're going to have to do at least one of them as a gimmick match. The rubber match should be a cage match.
Or something.
Well, ideally a cage because it will keep out the United Empire.
United Empire never interfere.
They don't in this match. They might do in the next one.
It's the thing about the United Empire. They don't interfere in matches.
Right.
Apart from
what a cage match!
Yeah, apart from when they first actually introduced the United Empire, which is actually just Great O'Connor at the time because he came in and interfered in Will Ospreay Okada's match. But since then, yeah, it's kind of been a key point of the United Empire is they have the whole team there, but they never interfere. And it's an interesting thing.
The reason I want the cage match is because those two don't need to go outside and mess about with tables and run around. They have got the wrestling acumen to pull off a wrestling match in the cage, using the cage for what it is,
Yeah. There were at
and-
least 10 times that they should have been counted out.
yeah. But if they had this cage match, that could be the greatest cage match of all time.
Confine it to the ring, yeah, absolutely. Two of the greatest. Will Ospreay is one of the greatest. Go check out his match with Eddie Dennis. It really is worth it. And just to hear his post-match promo as well, which was just so good. If we go back to that Will Ospreay promo when he with the whole thing with Kenny Omega, one of the best. You felt everything he had to say, and I love the fact that there's actually, if you see the extended clip, it's even better where you see the fact that that Will Ospreay's microphone won't work, and Kenny Omega's just like, you gotta hit the button. And that's when he gets up and just comes along and just takes the mic off thing. Poor Don Callis jumped about 10 miles down the fucking side thinking he was going to get his head kicked in at that point. But no, I even had Kenny Omega we're in the main event, we're in the main event. And you're like, but it's, you felt like you could cross that line. And that's where wrestling really is great. Because did you see the stuff with Okada and Kaito Kiyoma recently in NJPW? I'll find the clips of what's happening between the Kaito Kiyoma, who is the Noah champion, versus Kazuchika Okada, who is the NJPW champion. They had a crossover show. It was a tag match that featured both of them, and Okada's got a chin lock on. I don't know who the other guy was. He's got a chin lock on him, and in comes Kaito Kiyoma, and he kicks him in the back a couple of times, and Okada just doesn't move. And then he finally kind of lets go, but as he's done it, Kaito just boots him clean in the face, and I mean, he kicked him in the head. And Kazuchika Okada didn't take too kindly to this. Literally runs over, just smashes him off the apron, and just starts wailing on him, beating the crap out of him. And if it was a shoot, it was one of the best shoots. If it was work, it was one of the most incredible works you'll ever see. And yeah, really, you should go out your way to see it. But obviously, I can't ask you your top 5 matches, your top 5 performers. But what was your best match for PEW? Who was your top performer?
Best match was a tag team match. Top performer. Ooh, that is difficult because Jason Joshua played a blinder. Smashing Mike, obviously, he's just wonderful. I think it's going to be Ivy. Ivy was my best performer because they wrestled fantastically. Their personality is just pure power. They were involved in multiple things throughout the night. Going to be Ivy.
Yeah, that's it. And by the tag team match, you meant Bread for Better, or no, not Bread for the entitled Brady Phillips and Riley Nova versus Rebellion versus Joey Scott and Lance Rivera. That match, yes?
Yep.
There we go. For me, I'm going to do my top 5 matches 5-1. It was Carlos Zamora versus Ahura. Excellent match. Bodyslam versus WXW, available on their YouTube channel. JJ Gale versus Gabriel Kidd as my number 4. I really love this match. Kidd were brilliant. La Rebellion versus Lycos Jim is my number 3. That was one of the best tag team matches I've ever had the chance to see live. Sunshine Machine versus FSU was my number 2 match, and of course the number 1 match is Eddie Dennis versus Will Ospreay. My top 5 performers, again going from 5-1, are at number 5 Ahura, at number 4 JJ Gale, at number 3 Eddie Dennis, at number 2 Kid Lycos, and at number 1 Daz Black.
Nice.
because it's unfair if I put Will Ospreay in there. So but yeah, Daz Black, yeah, and her was brilliant in the thing. So definitely go check those out. I'm going to be at Wrestle Carnival this weekend. You should definitely check out the preview show that's available on WrestleCarnival.com that features my beautiful face, providing all the details. And if you go check out their website right now, you'll see a lot of previews of each match that I have written up personally. So definitely go check those out. I'm going to be at Wrestle Carnival. It's going to be a great show. Where are you going soon?
Soon, I am going to be going to United Wrestling. I'm going to be going along there. I cannot wait. It looks like it's going to be an absolutely brilliant show. They've got a lot of... Oh, excuse me. Oh, this beer's making me burp. They've got a lot of good matches. I'm only allowed 2 beers, and I will tell you why in a minute. Right, where was it? Where's my list of matches they've just sent me? There will be Memes versus Gorgeous Josh. There will be Adonis Payne and Artemis, who we love, against the Harry Sefton and Rex Armstrong. So the whole meme team is there, and of course, TNT is appreciated by the meme team. Luna Blue will be taking on Kira Chimera, and I forgot to mention, the meme team and Rex Armstrong and Harry Sefton will also be taking on the 8-7. It'll be a 3-way dance.
Well, I know I'll be at the Progress Manchester show, which I believe is on the 12th of February. But we've got a whole host of shows to tell you about next week because it's beginning of February. There are some incredible shows coming up in February. We can't wait to tell you about them. All I can say for now, man, go support independent wrestlers. No, wait.
Two things. Firstly, I saw something on the old Facebook where your videos pop up all the time and they're really normally annoying. Have you seen the comedian Rosie Jones wrestling in WAW?
No.
Right. Rosie Jones, she's an absolutely brilliant comedian and she's got cerebral palsy. So obviously she has problems with her speech and she has certain mobility issues. She wrestled a full match in WAW and she did it so well. It's absolutely brilliant. It's available if you go on to Channel 4 and go to Trip Hazard, My Great British Adventure, and look it up on there. She wrestles on the Norwich episode, funnily enough, for WAW. And it's brilliant. Go out of your way to watch it. It shows why British wrestling is absolutely fantastic, inclusive, and great. It's all the best things. Watch that. It's great. The other thing I was going to say was I've joined a gym.
Oh, you have, haven't you?
I've joined a gym. I'm going to try and get fitter.
It's a square gym, isn't it?
It is a square gym. It's the Square One Gym in Hitchin, and it specialises in 2 things. It specialises in strongman training, and they've got a few people that are doing strongman and powerlifting out there. And it specialises in wrestling. And it has a full-time ring set up there, and they do children's lessons and adult lessons. They've got some amazing trainers, including Tommy Kyle. It is absolutely well worth visiting. If you're based in North Hertfordshire or Hertfordshire in general, and you want to go along and learn to wrestle, go to Square One. I'm not learning to wrestle. I am too old and too broken. I am using their gym.
Have you at least taken a bump?
I have not got in that ring because that is not what I do. I work out, I announce for people. That's it.
There you go. Okay, so support Dan as he tries to get fit. Support British wrestlers, support British wrestling, support independent wrestlers, support independent wrestling. And remember, don't feed the trolls.